Hello, everyone. Going to be another bonus episode uh, for Scrubnautica. It's going to be the last Subnautica content for a little while on the channel. I just wanted to get my final thoughts out on the game, what I think of it, my background with it, and all that kind of stuff. So I took a day after yesterday was the last day of recording of it, and I took a little while to think over it, and I played a little more, which is what you should be seeing right now, a little bit of gameplay on my other game that I've been doing. And I wrote a little script for it, so here we go. Let me actually start out with thank yous, because I missed one last episode. I want to thank the person that gave me this PC so I can play these more modern games on and record, finally. I want to thank the friend of mine that allowed me to use his music for my outro. I think I can use his professional name. It's iNimbus, and that's with a V, not a U in the Nimbus. He taught me a lot too as a bonus. He helped me with video editing, and he's taught me a lot of things. If he ever releases an album for money, go buy it. I'd like to thank the lovely, lovely person that bought me Subnautica to begin with, as obviously I couldn't have Let's Played it without them. And of course, another friend who helped me with the graphic design in order to make the Scrubnautica logo. I'm not using these people's names, their real names, because these aren't really businesses, and I don't want to just throw people's names out on the internet without the permission or anything. I'd also like to thank everyone that encouraged me, or at least didn't make fun of my voice. I was kind of really nervous about putting my voice on the internet because I'm unconfident about it, and I was kind of embarrassed that people now know what I sound like. They can put my voice to a name. Scrubnautica started solely because I was gifted a game on Steam by that new friend I made. I thought the best way I could say thank you was to show myself enjoying the game, since I was completely broke, and the friend lives an entire continent away, so it's not like I could have physically traded gifts and thank yous, at least without significant expense. Subnautica was a game I'd heard about, never seen anything of, just pretty much the Steam store videos where it looked like a relaxing exploration game with survival elements to it. I played Rust. I was in on the original DayZ mod. I've played 7 Days to Die with friends. I've seen it all before when it comes to online, multiplayer, competitive, survival, crafting type games. Something about them always left me feeling empty though. Like, disappointed. 100% of the time it was about killing your fellow humans over literally nothing. For a bite of food or a bit of rock to protect yourself with at base. It just painted a rather depressing view of human nature, that people will kill each other for nothing or just for fun. Of course, I'm fully aware this is only a video game, but it struck me as an unpleasant experience all the same. So along comes Subnautica. It's single player, so there's not even the possibility of a person breaking into your base and stealing all your stuff. It's pure man versus nature in the classical sense, or so I thought, eking out an existence with an overarching goal of escaping this planet. All the standard survival crafting mechanics are there. You need to eat and drink, as well as manage your health. Swim around in search of new materials to craft with. And each new depth or biome you find is full of new things you can exploit in order to delve deeper or to make survival easier. Visually, the game is pretty fantastic, pushing the limits of what Unity has to offer. Art style always goes beyond raw graphical capability, though. Whenever I imagine Subnautica, I imagine just a riot of colors, from the neon bioluminescence of nearly every fish, to the strong color filtering on each biome, so you roughly know where you are at any given time just by the color scheme of the area, to the way your sea moth lights cut through the gloom in like a cave or nighttime seafloor. The shallows remind me a lot of skin diving in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea around where I grew up, which was a cheap pastime for poor kids and rich alike to spend on a summer vacation. Creature designs are spectacularly done, to where I could identify creatures which were going to attack and be hostile, and which ones were passive by sight alone before getting close enough to scan or see if they'll attack me. It's clearly alien, but it feels familiar and safe and nostalgic in a way that felt sort of bittersweet when I was finally able to leave. As the PDA says, consider this place home, but remember that it is not. I felt worried for my character that I might die and lose my things, or have my expensive vehicles trashed in a way that simply reloading a save would not have caused. When a big scary creature appears and you have the actual shock of its appearance and sound, I think the crab snakes and reaper leviathans are the most terrifying looking things I've seen in a while, as well as the mechanical fear of how quickly they could potentially kill you. I found base building to be really enjoyable. You get some cool looking and effective sea bases with just the snap together building. The Cyclops vehicle is the most awesome vehicle type upgrade I've ever seen in a video game. The way you can physically walk around inside it makes it really feel massive, and snapping buildables onto it is mechanically really, really cool. I like the presence of secrets also, which is something AAA games can't do. In AAA, if not 100% of players will see it, it has to be cut for budgetary reasons. Not so here in the indie space, where they hid all these things around like you never actually have to see, unless you happen to go find them or go out of your way to look at them. All the same, I never felt like I was missing things, like I was obligated to 100% it to find all the wrecks and technology boxes or to scan all the chunks. Because if you miss something, there's always more of them you could find later, or so really it was the best of both worlds. The way it does environmental storytelling along with the PDAs and downloads and scan data means you can just choose how much lore you want to hear. You can read everything and listen to everything and scour the world for lore, or you can be like me and just mostly kind of let it be. So the amount of freedom you were allowed within the world's gating system was pretty great. Of course, story-wise, as you're coming to this planet, you're not coming as a conqueror. You're coming as a refugee from space. You aren't bending nature to your will. Nature is strong, it's wild, and it's much, much more powerful than you, even after you've constructed a mecha suit and a submarine. You're here surviving mostly by the world's allowing you to live, and the vagaries of fate where you just so happen to crash land in this safe environment with a few predators, and shallow enough the depth that you can just skin dive your way down to gather materials. In the voice logs on PDAs, you see dozens of other survivors who thought they could beat the planet, that they could make it work for them, and they all failed, swallowed up by hubris or more literally by the hostile animal life present on this world. So soon after crash landing, you find yourself infected by this strange disease, one which an alien race from long ago sought to contain on this world and failed, either because they refused to live in harmony with nature in the form of the Sea Emperor Leviathan, or were unable to, seeing the one they raised in captivity as nothing more than an animal, when in reality its incredible intellect was able to psychically speak to you as a human, as well as been working to defeat the disease for centuries of her lifetime. The disease is quite literal as a microcosm of your gameplay as well. As you dive deeper into the guts of this world, so too is the bacteria flowing through your veins. As you create little bubble colonies as shelter along the world, pustules are growing on your skin, ugly and alien. You are yourself a blight on this beautiful landscape, even as the disease is a blight on your body itself. But you're different. You listen. You help the Sea Emperor, a near-extinct species, return from the brink, and in exchange her children are able to cure you of the disease. It's implied also that the baby Sea Emperors will naturally spread the cure to all other life forms on the planet, so you literally make the world a better place with your intervention. Combine that with the other mechanics of never really having an effective means of killing native species other than the small fish you can catch to eat, and the reward of going out of your way to kill things larger than the prawn suit, torpedoes, or your dive knife is either none at all or minimal at best. There's not even really any ranged weapons. The only thing approaching the appearance of guns is like the stasis rifle, which produces a protective bubble shield around whatever you shoot it at, and then the repulsion and propulsion cannons, which can theoretically kill, but primarily just launch objects and dangerous small creatures. Of course, this is not a perfect game. Technically speaking, there are a lot of unloaded map chunks. I fell through the world one time in the Seamoth off camera, or not Seamoth, on the prawn suit off camera. Some poor texturing on things here and there, like when you get close to the Aurora, you see that really low-res texture. There were the clipping that killed me so much. It was clipping would harm my immersion and made the game more difficult because predators could just appear out of thin air to attack or comically get launched at high speeds out of the geometry. But when Unity was behaving, it felt real in a way the most realistic models of real world fish species couldn't possibly compare to. The clipping was definitely my biggest issue of the game, but other little things I would have liked to see in a future game or as a mod would be whenever you play the game, you're an existing character, you're this brown-skinned male human, and you always get to Life Pod 5, and you always land in the shallows. I'd really like it maybe as replay value or a bonus game mode where you spawn in a more random location as a different person, maybe with some starting gear of some kind. Maybe you'd be like a female security officer, like the mercenary you hear about in the Degassi logs, and it'd spawn you with a knife. I also found that the Cyclops repair bay upgrade that lets it auto-repair things docked at it was amazing, and I wished regular Moonfools had that feature as an upgrade maybe. So, upon researching this game after completion, I discovered this game began development immediately after the Sandy Hook school shooting in 2013, because Subnautica hit Steam Early Access in 2014. Charlie Cleveland, the lead designer of the game, said he was inspired by such real-life gun violence, and the gameplay was to encourage players to think about non-violent and more creative solutions to solve our problems. And that's a quote. That's from Wikipedia, but he was in fact saying that in an interview setting. So I feel my assessment of the message being that of discovery, creativity, and nonviolence was close to the developer's intention. In all, I think I can suggest Subnautica to just about everybody, from kids to adults to gamers to grannies, as a positive example of what video games and especially survival crafting genre can be. I've heard studies that exploring new environments in video games gives you the same dopamine release as seeing a new place in real life. And I can confirm every time I saw some cool new biome or area, the first thing was I would be filled with this sense of wonderment and then trepidation. I'd say, look at all this new stuff, and then watch out, I don't know what could be dangerous in here. The only warning I'd give is that when there's no intentional jump scares in the game, it does have an atmosphere similar to horror at times. So, if you're overly frightened by huge, like loud, horrible-looking creatures attacking you, you might want to be cautious with it. Although in a video gamey way, it's relatively clear that their AI makes them attack you once and then gives you an opportunity to get away. So a single creature attack never seems to outright kill you in one go. You can always tell yourself, oh, I have a chance to get out of this whenever you're frightened. Subnautica was in fact so good that I want to play more of it every time I'm away. I'm already thinking about returning to the world of 4546B, and I've barely escaped it. And if you didn't get enough out of the Let's Play, I would really like to play the standalone expansion, I guess it is, which is Subnautica Sub-Zero, I believe. Below Zero, something like that. It was on the start screen every time, the main menu every time you booted it up. But that looks really cool, and it's more like Arctic environments. So who knows, you may see a Let's Play of that in the future. Anyway, thank you for listening to my long and rambling review of this wonderful game. I would highly recommend you pick it up and play it for yourself. Also, this developer needs more support, as they are like a small team of, I think, 15 people. It was a very small team in the credits, and then a bunch of playtesters. So they could really use your support and encourage more games like this to exist. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.